Alright. Now that my capture card has stopped being entirely stupid, let's talk about the French elections. For fucking once, the Liberals decided to work with the left instead of deciding to spite the left, which is most of what liberals are made of, is spite against the left. At least, you know, in Europe, that's much more pronounced at an institutional level. In the United States, it's just, since there's no left party, the liberals have to instead be spiteful of all the people on the left that vote for them, which actually includes a large number of liberals, too. But regardless, my chair is not cooperating. Yes, the Macron's party and the other centrists that he coalition built with decided to work with the left because the left, quite frankly, had a much larger base of public support, and because, if you can believe it, Macron actually hates the far right more than he hates the left. Which, even if he's like a massive douchebag and has weirdo motives, you know, we'll take it. We take those. You know, powerful motivator for coalition building against the far right is just you hate them then more than you hate the left. Yeah, fuck it. And so as a result, there was a sort of strategic campaign move going on where, as a matter of electoral convenience, in areas where one of the either the left or the liberals were ahead, the other would drop out. So it was either RN versus the left or RN versus the liberals. There were no three-way races. Or in some constituencies, it was liberals versus the left because the RN didn't get enough votes to qualify for the second round. So that led to the RN only getting 140 seats in the national legislature, which was the lowest out of the three major coalitions. The Macron's party, the presidential majority as it was called, got something like 150, 160 seats. And the left got 180 seats, which means that with some tenuous support between the liberals and the left, there's actually going to be, like, you could actually have a government form from that. So that's what's up. And of course, the far right has been really angry. They've been seething at everybody because of the left winning and stuff. Some people saying, like, I think there's been people that were like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to move out of France now because the immigrants have taken over," or something like that. Something very silly. And this makes it so that the left, this electoral victory for the left, it's not like a hollow victory like you saw in the UK, where yes, the Labour Party won, but they're not really a constituent part of the left anymore. The NFP is actually a left bloc, which means they do have left policies, and they intend to reverse a lot of the austerity politics that France has been suffering from, much like a lot of other European countries. In fact, I think one of their policy positions in their platform is a 90% marginal tax rate, which is base as fuck. That means they're going to tax the hell out of rich people. So, you know, that's nice. Good things are possible. Maybe not in the US, but good things are, in fact, possible. I cannot believe I dodged that in the air. The unions in France. I think I talked about this in another video that I did. The unions did mass mobilizations of people to go out and demonstrate in the streets leading up to the election. Really, the left went all in on their electoral strategy. I think what what Macron was really hoping for was that he could sabotage the left with a snap election, but they consolidated too fast. The left, like, grouped together way too quickly and had a platform ready way too quickly for for the election to go the way I think Macron initially hoped it would go. And then, like, once he saw that the left was a force to be reckoned with and wouldn't kind of peter out like they had in prior elections when they weren't as strong and gathered, then he decided, okay, now I have to work with them because I also hate the far right. I think he was kind of hoping for a good outcome for him, but he didn't get that necessarily. I don't know. Look, a lot of things had to happen for the left to win, and I'm glad the left won this this election in relative terms, I guess. And hopefully this means that some of the austerity politics will start to be reversed. I know one of a couple of the big promises that the left made was reducing the retirement age and raising wages. Specifically, this is in response to what Macron did last year, where he invoked unilateral authority as the president to, like, force something to become law, almost like a king would sign a decree, basically raising the retirement age, I think, from 62 to 64. And buddy, the French people did not like that. They were setting whole ass trash cans on fire. They were throwing shit at the police. The firemen were getting involved. There were brawls and shit. The people were really not happy, and people are still not happy with that. They probably remember the consequences of that decision, and so the left bloc has decided, you know what? We're gonna put the retirement age back. We're going to roll back a lot of the privatization that has taken place over the past several decades, and we're going to tax the rich at massive marginal rates to pay for any of the additional expenditures that we might incur. Not that they'll incur that many additional expenditures, because having public services rendered by the public, by the government, is often more cost-effective and efficient than having those same things rendered by the private sector. That's why the US spends so much on healthcare for such shit outcomes, because the private sector is just bad at, like, everything. And, like, every essential service that people need, the private sector fucking sucks at. You do not want private businesses in certain areas of life. And healthcare is one of those. Okay. Looks like we got a 1v1. History class on Twitch, lol. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of what I talk about. But needless to say, I am very happy that the Nouveau Front Populaire won the elections in France. At least in relative terms, they got 180 seats, and then the Liberals got 160, the far right got 140. So I don't know how likely it is that the left is going to be able to roll back a lot of the austerity stuff and restore the retirement age or whatever, because they'll have to contend with the liberal bloc in the legislature. But it is very unlikely, at the very least, that the far right gains very much ground. Try to join you after my World race? Okay. Yeah, it's no trouble. And also, what was interesting to note is that the Nouveau Front Populaire, the left coalition in France, outperformed a lot of the predictions that pollsters and political scientists were making. And I think that's because of the strategy that they employed by, like, basically teaming up with the liberals to maximize the chance that the far right would lose the elections. Basically strategically dropping out wherever the other the other one had like the advantage, so that the far right would basically be guaranteed to lose in certain like constituencies. So a lot of the polls were showing the RN getting like fully like 40% of the seats, and they like didn't. They just didn't. In fact, the left gained the most seats out of any of those coalitions, and a lot of the predictions showed them not gaining as much as the liberals or the far right, even with the like the new platform and consolidation that they had gone through, where like a bunch of smaller left parties joined together. And you know, the French people were pretty happy about it too. You know, as much as I'm loath to go to CNN for anything, let's see what they predict is next. There's like, what comes next? Oh my god. I was placing a different 1 versus 1 CT worldwide. RIP. Far right kept at bay, but more potent than ever. Yeah. This is actually going to reduce the potency of the far right. I've talked about this before. One of the things, or actually the key thing that enables the far right to have a surge in popularity in politics is when there's not a good left-wing populist option, right? A lot of the sort of status quo liberalism in economics creates like slow burn worsening economic circumstances, right? Austerity politics is bad for everybody except the uber wealthy, right? And when people start to get discontent with that, that starts to show. And as a result, the far right sort of rises to take advantage of that discontent and redirect it basically towards immigrants, towards Jews, towards whatever minority is the topic of the day. And the far right very frequently is supported by the big business owners, the people who benefit from austerity politics, because the far right would not challenge austerity politics. They would just do like, I don't know, concentration camps of minorities, and let migrants die at sea or some shit. But they are good at like sort of marketing themselves as though they are a party of the everyman, right? Where liberals kind of aren't. The problem is, for the far right, the problem is the left, like socialists, are way better at populism than the far right, because in order to project themselves as the party of the everyman, the far right actually has to lie profusely. The left doesn't, because the politics of the left are authentically that of the of like the working class, whereas the politics of the far right are just the politics of like the big business owners again, but like disguised in a way that would appeal to a lot of the like more reactionary and disaffected voters or public, if that makes sense. But now, like, because there is now the left-wing party that has like a decent amount of power in the government, right? Because there is a left populist option, the far right is actually going to lose power, because their brand of populism is going to look a whole lot less appealing than the left's brand of populism. That is, if they manage to succeed in some of their agenda, you know? Basically, liberalism creates social and economic alienation. The far right feeds off of social and economic alienation. The left seeks to address social and economic alienation. You know? The left creates the problem, the far right feeds off of the problem, and the left tries to fix the problem. Did I say the left creates the problem? The liberals create the problem. Will the left remain united? That's an actual question. The left has been known to not be great at coalescing in these circumstances. Macron emerges weakened. What does France do from here? Let's see. Technocratic government. Yeah, okay. So as is expected, CNN has basically nothing to offer in terms of analysis. because they're a liberal news outlet, and this is a liberal world order that we live in. They're incapable of critically engaging with it because they're institutionalists. It is what it is. I guess the only predictions I can really make are kind of modest ones for the rolling back of certain austerity policies and the restoration of the retirement age at 62 instead of 64. That's going to get a lot of people on the left side, though, especially with reinvigorated unions. That's one thing that we should factor in. The left is way more friendly to unions than the liberals and the right are. Which means that, like, there's going to be way fewer attempts to undercut union activity and workers' movements in a government with significant left influence. And, in fact, we might even see the unions become more active in France than they already were. Which is crazy, because we're talking about France, you know? Not like they had any problems with unions not being active to begin with, but, you know... You know, good things are possible, basically, is what I'm saying, and, you know. Don't know how long it is until the workers of the world unite, but, you know, the workers of France have a pretty good opportunity to unite in the coming months and next couple years. Future me, if that's a segment, probably cut it there. I don't want it to go on for too long.